This is just a brief experience I'm going to share with you. In fact, I don't think I'm the only one it has happened to. Some years ago, I used to transfer after getting off work at the Deportivo 18 de Marzo station, back when it was still called Basilica, always around 10 o'clock at night. I'd head toward the Green Line, but to get there I had to pass through a corridor of the Red Line. More than once, I had to walk completely alone down that hallway, and at first it didn't bother me at all. But on more than one occasion, I heard someone running right behind me, and of course I kept walking straight so I wouldn't turn into whoever was coming at a fast pace. Everything was fine until I would hear that they were about to catch up, then the sound would suddenly stop. I always turned around, especially at the beginning, because I was afraid someone might be standing behind me with God knows what intentions. But when I looked, the corridor would be completely empty. And that's when I would get chills. To this day, if it ever happened again, I know I would feel them the same way. At one point I stopped turning around, not because I got used to it, but because I tried to ignore those steps that always stopped behind me, or at least very close to where I was walking. After becoming something of an expert at it, I started doing everything possible not to look back when I heard those footsteps in the same situation, walking alone through those corridors. By then, it didn't scare me as much anymore, though I still felt something strange, a heavy vibe, I don't know. That night, I heard the hurried steps again, but they didn't last long, and now that I think about it, there was a difference. This time, I felt someone tap my shoulder 3 times, like when someone asks you to turn around, or taps to get your attention. And that's exactly what happened. I turned around, thinking, okay, now it's someone. I had felt it clearly. I expected that person would need me to look, maybe to ask for directions, the time, something like that. I turned, and no one was there. Only a person far away, barely walking in my direction. But that time, the chills were the worst I'd ever felt. I remember that instead of freezing and waiting to reach some conclusion, I ran and got out of that corridor as fast as I could. For my bad luck, I had to take that same transportation to get from my house to my job and back. So I kept having to pass through that corridor, and in 2 more occasions, while I walked through, I didn't hear footsteps anymore. Instead, I could only feel taps on my shoulder, almost halfway down the hallway, 3 times each time, as if whoever was there was waiting for me to turn. Then, as if by fate, that same week I returned to my usual afternoon shift at work. Back then, we had to cover a vacancy while they hired someone from the night shift. But even so, I didn't stop walking through that corridor. I just went in the afternoon instead, when there were more people around. And no, I didn't feel anything like that again.